So I want to go ahead and just kind of just introduce myself. My name is Carlos Salgado. I am one of the marketing directors here for our company, Difference Financial, that I'm going to be breaking down for you guys. So if you're a guest, I know we have a few people on here. The person that invited you on, whether it's Gordon, Natalie, whoever invited you here, and I'm sure we might have a few stragglers that show up late. This is really just to educate you on who we are, what we do. We're based here out of Southern California. I'm currently, tuning in here from San Diego. Our home office is in the South Bay of LA, Torrance, California. We also have an office in Yuma, Arizona. And we decided about 3 months ago that we were going to start building more of a virtual platform just because that's where technology is going. And we decided to do just that. And we've had success with this, so we've really started to grow virtually. We're starting to be able to go out there and help and educate more people because of technology, using a platform like this Zoom. And what I'm going to be showing you this evening is exactly what we've been showing clients for years. My background is I've been in this company pretty much since inception, right? Company started in July 2011, and I've been in this industry since 2004. So I've been doing this a long time, and I never would have imagined that we could do this. Before I would be driving all over town, giving presentations, meeting with clients. And even though we still do that to a large degree, we are beginning to transition more to utilizing technology to be able to empower more people financially. So if you're here, I don't know what prompted you to come on. Maybe, your relationship with the person that invited you was just like, hey, I'll come support you. I'll help you out. I want to know what you're doing. This is not going to be a sales pitch. You're not going to be asked to buy anything. This is basically going to be financial education. We have a little bit of a questionnaire that I'll ask you guys towards the end, especially those are our guests. And that's something that we can, if you want to know more information about who we are, what we do. My background is military. I come from a Marine Corps background. I spent 15 years in the United States Marine Corps. And my dream was always to be an entrepreneur, was to work for myself, start my own business. I never thought that it would be in this industry. To be honest with you, I didn't think that this was something I could do, or let alone even wanted to do. I just know that financial education is extremely important. So when I started off in this industry, I started off mostly interested in the client side, wanted to know how to get my money working for me, wanted to know more about investments, how markets worked. And the more I learned about it, the more I fell in love with it, which made me want to decide to do this as a career. Right now we have so many people retiring that are moving into retirement space, and they just have no idea how. And they have no idea how they're going to retire. They have no idea if their Social Security is going to be enough. For some people, they wonder if they're even going to get Social Security. So if you're someone that just wants to understand the basics of money, then you've tuned into the right place. And we're also expanding, so if any of you have an entrepreneurial itch, meaning that, man, maybe you thought about starting a business, maybe you thought about wanting to work for yourself, be your own boss, control your time, control your income, then I want you to be open-minded to a very exciting opportunity that we have here, because now you can do this business pretty much anywhere in the United States. As long as you have a computer, a laptop, and a webcam, you can really help anybody anywhere. You still got to get a license for the state that you operate in. But I'll tell you, the way that we've been helping clients this month in June, I would say probably over 60% of the business that we've done in this month has been all online. And that's a very exciting time for us, right? So we're moving more and more towards the online platform of being able to just do a business anywhere you have Wi-Fi and a laptop, a true laptop lifestyle. So I'm going to be kind of breaking that down and covering that with you guys. And I want to leave time for some questions. So I want to get this done within 45 minutes. Okay, so just plan that for now. I got 7:08. I want to be done prior to 8 o'clock. So I don't want to be talking your guys' ear off. I want to get straight to it. But I want you to know that this business is something I'm very passionate about. It's absolutely transformed my life. And for many other people that I work with, it's something I do full time. I'm married, I have a family, I got 2 daughters, and a business like this has allowed me to spend more time with my family, control my income, earn passive income. And I think that's what people want to know, how they can accomplish that. And so we're going to help and educate people just how to do that. So if you have a question throughout the course of my presentation, if you look into the options there of the Zoom, you'll see that there's a chat box in there. So especially if you're a guest, if you want to go ahead and type in a question at any course through my presentation, I'm going to look towards it towards the end of it. If you have a question, so I can address those questions. And we'll go from there. Okay, so what I'm going to go ahead and do now is I'm going to go into presentation mode. So you won't be able to see my beautiful bald head. And let's see here. Let me start off first. I want to start off with a few PowerPoint slides. So this is the name of our company, guys, Difference Financial and Insurance Services. Again, I told you we started in July 2011 with about 5 people. We're now about 50. We're a very small company who now has a very, very dramatic need to grow. Our goal in the next year is we'd like to get this to about 100 licensed agents in the next 12 months. And we believe through online platform that we can do that. And so why we exist is our 2 passions are helping families, and we want to provide opportunities. And our mission is really just to empower the world through financial education, and we want to provide the best opportunities for people to live financially free. So this is the current situation for a lot of people, and this is why we are where we're at. This is not really news to anybody, but it's just the truth, right? People have poor savings habits, and people have a lot of debt. Right now, the average credit card debt per household is about $15,000 to $20,000. Okay, it's a big issue. Along with student loan debt, you know, it's a big, big issue per household. And right now, you look at the right here, you see these old timers here, we call them baby boomers, right? There's about 10,000 boomers turning 65 every day. And for many of them, they don't have a retirement plan. They're scared of losing their money, or worse, they're scared of outliving their money because people are living longer. And many families are just unprepared for unexpected changes. So the average household that I've sat with over the years, and I'm talking, we've sat in thousands of them here in Southern California. The average household has maybe less than $1,000 in savings. The cost of living is higher, so people are not saving, right? So this is why debt is so rampant, because what do people use for emergencies when there's no liquid cash? Credit cards. And now they're paying that back with interest. And so we know that just financial difficulty just causes a lot of stress and strain on life. And so that's really the purpose of why we became who we are. And so I'm going to show you something that I've been showing this for years. And you may want to write this down. Even if you're an associate, you may want to write this down. Second here. So this is what we do, right? I want to give you kind of a macro view of who we are, what we're doing here. So when it comes to markets, right, we say we have 98% of people that make $250,000 or less. Just pretty much everybody. And right now, when we ask most people, right, so if I were to ask Andrew or anybody here, what I typically ask is, where do most people, if people save money, and I'm not just talking about the 401ks that they have, but if people save money, right now, currently, where do most people put their money at that they save? What do you think that is? And if you answered banks, you answered right, because that's where most people still put their money. I'm talking like a Wells Fargo's, Chase, Bank of America, whatever local bank you have in whatever town you're in. They all still work the same way, right? Even if it's a credit union, okay? So in banks, right, what you have a checking account, what does a bank pay you in money in a checking account? Zero. Sometimes you have to pay for a checking account. If you have a savings account right now, you're looking about 0.02%. Sometimes it goes up to about 0.09, but 0.02% is what a savings account will pay you, which is pretty much nothing. There's things called money markets. There's also certificates of deposit. And right now, depending on the amount of money, you're looking at 1%. Some will offer you 2. You got to have a large sum of money, but most of them are about that. And so then I ask people, is the cost of living going up or down? And it doesn't matter where you're at in the country. I think everyone kind of feels it, right? You probably feel it more in your bigger cities. Like I know here in San Diego, Los Angeles, the cost of living is higher compared to most places in the country. But if I were to ask you, do you believe the cost of living, wherever you're at, is the cost of living, is it going up or down? And the answer is that it's going up. And so we call this inflation. And right now, inflation is close to 4%. That's pretty high, okay? So what that means is that if someone's putting money in a savings account, earning 0.02%, right, in savings, and this is the cost of living, which we call inflation, it just becomes very simple math, right? So this is what's happening. So people's money is being devalued. So that means for every dollar that we leave in the bank year after year, we're losing 4 cents of buying power on that dollar, right? So we don't really see this expense. We only experience it when we go to the grocery store, because if you have a dollar in your bank, it's still going to be a dollar a year from now, even with the little bit of interest that you're earning. Where you feel the pinch is when you go to the grocery store, for example, to use that money, and you see that the cost of milk, bread, and eggs has gone up in price. The landlord wants to raise rent. Housing goes up in price. Gasoline goes up in price. So commodities, which is all the things that we use on a daily basis, are going up in price. But the money that we are saving, right, we call that our earned income that we're trading time for, is not going up. So what we want to show people is basically that this is what's happening now. When you look at this, you got the top 2% of the country. In terms of what their income is you're looking at $250,000 or more. Now we find is, where do these people put their money at? Now you've made or heard of companies like Merrill Lynch, Morgan Stanley, Charles Schwab, Edward Jones, right? Smith Barney. There's all kinds of companies out there that are work in the investment bank space. Now they only focus on this client right here. Why? Because that's where the money is at. And because these companies are also in for profit, right? They're going to focus on where they can make the most profit, obviously. And so they teach these clients how to invest their money in stocks, bonds, mutual funds, which are a combination of stocks and bonds, also big into real estate investing. And what they're going to earn on interest is anywhere between 6 to 12% per year. Now, that's pretty good. So you notice how the average performance is above inflation, right? So markets have to outpace inflation for it to be a market. So let's say, for an example, on this side of the fence, somebody had a great year and earned 12%, but the cost of living is 4%. So cost of living affects everybody. However, the difference is if I'm taking 12 steps forward and 4 steps back, I'm still earning 8% after inflation. So that means for every dollar I have over here, that dollar is generating another 8 cents per dollar, even after inflation. For every dollar I have over here, my dollar is losing 4 cents of buying power per dollar because of inflation. So my point is, this is why rich are getting richer and poor are getting poor. Right now, the middle class in our country is going through a recession. It's hard to live in this country right now if you're middle class, because we're starting to become, there's a lot more month left after the money, because our money doesn't stretch as far, right? Why? Because, well, I'm going to get into that, but a lot of times because of this is we don't understand money in this country. And so why Gordon, Natalie, whoever invited you on here, why they wanted you to see what we do is because we started a company so that we can help everybody, right? We wanted to help 100% of the people, whether it's somebody that can save 50 bucks a month or someone that can save 50,000 a month, right? We have both of those type of clients. So we're going to meet people where they're at, but what we're doing is helping people on this side get to that side. But our approach, right? Change the color. Our approach is education, right? We believe that if people get the right education, then they can make changes. And so I'm going to break down for you guys on why is it, right, that this is happening, okay? And it's really important that you understand. And this is exactly why we want to make these changes here. So number one, on what it takes to help people experience a change is people need to get the right strategies, right? And this is something that our education system doesn't teach. I don't care if you have a master's degree. I promise you that the school system that you went to did not teach this. And so what do we teach here that we believe people need to know? We believe people need to understand how taxes work. We don't understand taxes in this country, right? There's a reason why Donald Trump has not produced his taxes, right? You know, his son-in-law, Jared Kushner, who was also very successful in real estate, he said it, you know, he said, we pay zero in taxes because we legally know how to do it. And they're absolutely right. I hate to say that, but it's absolutely true that it's possible to pay zero in taxes, even though you make millions of dollars per year. Why? Because the tax code allows it. And so let me ask you a question. If you can pay less in taxes and it was absolutely legal, would you do it? And the answer is yes, because it doesn't make you a better American because you pay more taxes than your neighbor. It's just our education system is not teaching people the loopholes. Why? Because it doesn't serve the system for you to have that, but they're there. So we want to teach you how taxes work, okay? We also want to teach you how to read numbers. I would say, I think we should get rid of algebra and we should start teaching people how money works, right? And even though we studied interest rates, you know, to understand basic formulas in math, we do not understand how interest rates work in our current economy. How do they apply to us? Because my point is that if we were educated on interest rates, then we would question this all day long. Look at this. There's who knows, millions upon millions of people, and this is what they're earning in interest rates from their bank. Now, why do banks pay us such low interest rates? Because what do they do with the money that we're giving them that's being funneled into them? We get direct deposit with them. What do banks do with that money? They just loan it out for more interest, right? It's very simple math, right? So instead of you giving them your money, what if you could learn how to just be like the bank and go earn more interest yourself? Well, in order to do that, you have to know how to read interest rates. And we don't know how to read interest rates in this country. So we want to teach as a company people how to do that. We want to teach people how investments work. It's very, we have many people graduating college, but say, what is the difference between a Roth IRA and a 401k? And if we don't know what that is, that's a big deal, right? We got to know, we have to teach people how that works. A big thing that I'm passionate about is teaching people about passive income. And so passive income is basically, right, you're making money while you sleep. Meaning that you're getting paid every day of every week, every month, whether you're at the office or not. And so passive income is a real thing now, and it's possible. So we want to teach people how passive income works. That's a big part of what we teach here. And regardless of what you feel about our economic structure, we live in free enterprise system, which is also known as capitalism. So if you don't know how capitalism works, then it's really important, because the understanding of capitalism is what allows you to get free, right? It's what allows you to get free. So I want to look at you guys real quick, because I want to say something with you, because here's the big thing, right? And this is something that you could share with people, right? Because I know people that make good money. I mean, really good money. And so when people say, man, Carlo, I'm making good money, a couple $100,000 a year, even 250, right? Right now, if you want to be okay financially in California, for you to be like, I'm okay, I'm actually pretty good, you got to make about $250,000 because of inflation, because everything is so costly. So it says, Carlo, you know, and there's no job right now that I know is going to pay $250,000. So what is the option? Free enterprise system, entrepreneurship. Nowadays, everybody has some sort of side hustle, whether they're doing Uber, Lyft, right? Some sort of side business. Whatever you're doing, everybody needs something on the side of their full-time job in order to generate more income. Now, my point is that whatever you're doing, does it have freedom attached to it? Does it something that you can do? And my point is, even if you have a job that's paying you good money, then my next question to you to be, how much time do you have? And so people say, well, Carlo, I make good money, but I have no time. And I'm like, well, that's not freedom. Then you have the flip side of the coin. Who knows people right now that have a lot of time? So, dude, I got a lot of time. Then my next question would be like, how's your finances? Man, my finances suck. So you have a lot of time and no money. That's not fun either. So true freedom, right? What freedom is having time and money together, okay? Because now you can be free. And so a question, right? You know, a question is this. A question is because I'm all about, I don't like government. Let me be honest with you guys, right? I don't like government. You know, all I want government is to. I think I'm all about small. I'm not going to get political here, but I'm about government being as small as possible and giving me the freedom. Because I love being in this country. My family came to this country, but I want the freedom to go and do with what I want to do and how I want to express my time. Because the question I have for all of you, even associates on this call, is this is a fundamental question. If money was not an issue, and I'm not talking about rich, I don't care about material, okay? Because at the end of the day, it's about time. If money were not an issue, how would you spend your time? How would you invest your time? Okay, because look, you can make a ton of money and you can lose your money, but you can get money back, but you do not get back time. That's my point, because none of us on this call, right? And you can be anti-government, anti-capitalist, you know, anti-rich. I hate people that don't care about material. It doesn't matter. None of us know how much time we have left. None of us, right? So for me, what matters most to me is I want to be able to express my time on my terms, right? And the only way to do that is to be free of time. And unfortunately, in capitalism, in order to have free time, you have to have the money there as well. Whatever that means to you, okay? Whatever that means for you, right? Whether it's for me, I'm a family guy at heart. I'm married, 2 daughters. I started a business, right? So that my wife could stay home with my daughters. That was my whole intention, you know, and so that we could raise our kids and not have a daycare system. And if I want to take a day off, I don't have to ask a boss to take a day off. I just take a day off. I mean, if I want to go and pick them up at school and take them to softball practice, take them to soccer practice, take them to swim practice, I have the authority and the right to do that. I don't have to ask anybody's permission for that. And coming from a military background, I can tell you that used to be such a heartache for me. So it's all about family, guys, right? And if you value your family, then you know what I'm talking about here. You relate to what I'm talking to here, because it's all about time, right? It's all about time at the end of the day. And so this is what we're trying to talk about here and what this is about. Okay, so hope that makes sense. Let me go back to share. Here we go. So that's a big part of what we want to teach here, guys, right? So this is why having the right strategy is important, right? And again, all of this comes down to just getting the right education, right? I want everyone to be educated, and education is powerful. Now, number 2, excuse my chicken scratch there. And this is very important, right? Because if we had more time on this webinar, this is what I like to get into people's head about because of psychology. And here's where people's psychology comes a difference, because when it comes to psychology, people have a love or hate relationship with money, right? And that typically stems from experiences, right? Depending on how you grew up, how was it expressed around you, how were your parents with it, Let me give you a personal example for me, because I had kind of more of a hate relationship with money. And let me tell you why, right? And it took me years to realize this, but my father went to prison when I was in junior high. I didn't see my dad again till I was in my 20s, right? So I didn't see him again from 12 till I was about maybe 23 years old. So that was 11 years without having my father. And I remember I had some daddy issues, resentment issues, because I played baseball, I played basketball, and I remember seeing all my friends with their dads there, supporting them, rooting them, and always feeling like, man, my dad made a choice because of money, and now he's not here to see me play, not here to support his sons, because I had a little brother too. And so I tied that, because of his desire for more money, he made bad choices, which cost him being a dad when I really needed one the most. So that translated to me, I hate money because of what it did to me. Well, let me tell you how that belief, that psychology hurt me later on in life, because that became my ideology. And so I had a lot of financial issues because of it. I also grew up in a household where I probably heard the term, we can't afford it. I remember asking my mom, can I get some Jordans? Can't afford it. Mom, can we go to Disneyland? Can't afford it. Mom, can we do this? We can't afford it, can't afford it, can't afford it. And so what happened is that became a belief system in my house. And it became a belief for me that I can't afford things, right? And that word is something I used to say all the time. And I remember friends, when I was in the military, my friends would be like, hey, we're going to Vegas. Hey, we're going to go do this. And I'd be like, bro, I can't afford it. And I had a friend that always say, why do you always say that? You always say that, bro. We get the same paycheck. And it's because I didn't know that I didn't know that I was always saying that. And so what's going on here with people is it's a paradigm. And we all have a paradigm around money. Okay. And so money, if you have a love-hate relationship with money, it's going to play out in your life if that's what you believe, right? Think of it like a relationship. Okay. So if you are in a relationship and you have a healthy relationship, then you're going to have healthy outcomes. If you're obsessed with let's say if I was obsessed with my woman and I was courting her and stalking her and showing up at her house, she might put a restraining order, right? So if you're obsessed with money, that also is not healthy as well. Right? Now, if I kept telling my woman, I don't like you, I don't like anything about you, then she's probably not going to stick around very long, and neither is money. Is my point? So I'm not saying that loving or hating is the issue. I'm saying that just be aware of what is your emotional relationship with money. This is something very psychological, because depending on how you feel about money is depending on what your day-to-day experience is with it. Okay. And I'm here to tell you that just because you have more doesn't mean someone else has less. Right. And if you're going to think, you might as well think big, right? Because I'm under the belief that you should be able to have whatever you want and live how you want, because it's your God-given ability to do so. Right. And I believe in a higher power, and not to get philosophical, but I believe whatever that higher power wants us all to be abundant and happy and secure. Right. I don't think that higher power says, well, only some get it and some don't. There is no win-lose for me, right? So it's just a matter of psychology. So why am I sharing this with you? Because a big part of what we teach here is this is where things need to get rearranged with people, is just really altering their psychology around it. And I'm telling you, right, because we can teach you everything about markets, we can teach you everything about money, but if your paradigm, right, this right here has a negative view, right, versus positive, then the results are going to be negative when it comes to money. So we want to help change that, because I want everybody to have a healthy, loving relationship with money, right? and anyone can do that. Okay, so the money doesn't matter about what your background is, what race, what ethnicity, right? It doesn't matter about your past. It's about what you're really thinking about it now in the current paradigm that you have with it. And so I spent a lot of time with these people because in the years that I've done so, I can tell you that this has been the number one reason of where people are hurt financially. Unfortunately, right? But the cool thing about it is that once you become aware, then you can make the changes and you can form new beliefs. You can form a new paradigm, which will give you new experiences, which will give you a new emotional feeling around money, which can create a more positive outcome for everybody. So I hope that makes sense. Okay. Now, what we do here is this, right? Move this so this thing gets in the way here. So I'm going to break these down here. We take people through a 6-step plan. Okay, so really pay attention to this because this applies to everybody, you know. So especially if you're a guest. So number one, 6 steps to financial freedom. And financial freedom, you define that however you define that. Okay, so for us, what financial freedom means to us is that we deal with families all the time, and that means having the right proper protection. Okay, so if you, for example, if we deal with a husband and a wife and they have a couple children, and we're going to find out who the breadwinner is. Sometimes it's wife, sometimes it's husband. Well, whoever it is, we want to make sure, do you have the right protection? What do you mean by that? Life insurance. If something were to happen to you, God forbid that, is your wife, is your husband, are your kids, are they going to be able to move forward okay financially because they no longer have your income? And if the answer is no, then we want to make sure that we protect that because it's very important. I think we've all seen people with the GoFundMe pages online. Hey, my grandma, my aunt, my brother, my sister, cousin died. Hey, stranger, can you pitch in a few bucks to support my family that you know nothing about because they didn't plan properly and we don't know how we're going to bury them? It's sad, but it happens every day. That's why GoFundMe was created. But GoFundMe is not the right responsible thing to do. We want to make sure that people have the right protection. And now we have protection with living benefits, right? So what that means is if you have a policy or you don't have a policy, I always ask people, does it have living benefits? And when people say, well, what is that? It's life insurance you don't have to die to use, meaning that who knows someone that's ever had cancer? Who knows someone that's ever had a heart attack, a stroke? And if they are a breadwinner or they are a provider for their family, and if something happens where they cannot go back to work because of a health crisis, then the bills still need to be paid. The mortgage still needs to be paid. So having the right protection with living benefits allows people to pull out money 100% tax-free, even while they're still living from those policies. So it's a pretty powerful feature. And this is all, I'll tell you, a lot of business that we do on a daily basis is because of people wanting a policy with living benefits. Right? We do it for both term insurance and permanent policies. Number two is we want to help people increase their cash flow, right? So what that means is budgeting. Okay, so we do a comprehensive budget. Hey, what's coming into the cent? What's coming out? And what we find is people overspend in 2 areas. What would you guess they are? Where do people overspend, right? And I'm talking every household. People overspend in 2 areas. And number one is food, eating out, right? And so if you eat out at work because you don't pack a lunch, and even if you just go to Subway or Wendy's or wherever, and right now, what does it cost for a lunch to get a decent meal? You know, if you get a sandwich, chips, and a drink, you're paying about 10 bucks, right? You're paying about 10 bucks, no problem. Doesn't matter where you go. And so if you're doing that 5 days a week, you know, that's 50 bucks a week. You know, that's about 200 bucks a month. You know, on the weekends, people like to go out to eat, right? Now you're going with your family. Even if you take your family to Chili's on Friday, even if you're in a happy hour for husband, wife, and 2 kids, you're dropping just shy of $100, like no problem. So my point is people overspend a lot on eating out and then also entertainment. So what we want to teach with step 2, and so listen to this, is pay yourself first. Right? Let me repeat that. A strategy that you want to adopt is to pay yourself first, because nobody wants for you more than you want for you. Nobody. And the rule of thumb is 10%. Now, if you tithe because you're a faith-based person, then you put 10% to your tithing or church, but you should also be paying yourself 10%. So an example of a family that we help is, here's a common example. Husband and wife make $5,000 a month, have a couple kids. They don't save money well. I say, look, 10% of that $5,000 before you pay your bills is $500. Now, what are we going to do with that $500? We're going to put it in steps 3 through 6. So let me explain. Right? We're going to establish strong credit. So we're going to help them get out of debt. So if you have credit card debt issues, if you have student loan debt issues, we have programs that allow you to get out of debt very fast. We can reduce your student loan debt. We can dramatically reduce your credit card debt, so you can go from paying interest to earning interest. Does that make sense? We want to take you from paying interest to earning interest. And we could only do that by eliminating debt. Number 4 is we want you to save at least 3 to 6 months of income. So whatever your monthly income is, in this case, this family makes $5,000. We're going to set up a liquid account that they can access. And it might take them a couple of years to get there, but now they have a goal to save at least $15,000 in savings. Because then I ask the question is, let me ask you guys, if an emergency happens, like you need 4 new tires for your car, and each tire is $250, and obviously you need your car to get to work, but your tires are done and you got to replace all 4 of them, and you don't have money in savings, how do most people get the money for something like that? They either get a loan, or more often than not, they put it on a Visa or MasterCard, and now you're paying that back with interest. So that's the last thing we want. So we want you to have liquid cash just for those purposes. So we're going to help you just how to do that. Number 5 is college, right? So we're going to help you. You know, we have some very unique college funding strategies. So whether you have a newborn that's 2 weeks old, or whether you have someone and they're like, oh my gosh, my child's going to graduate high school in a year and we have no idea how we're going to cover this, we got your back, right? We have some very unique college funding strategies to make college more accessible. Okay. So we help with all of that. Anything college related, doesn't matter what age they are, we can help put a plan in college for children or grandchildren. And then last but definitely not least is retirement. This is where we probably specialize the most, where we help most people. And so I want you to pay attention to these 3 bullet points as I cover them. So the first one here is, when we help you save for retirement, we call it increasing long-term wealth, but we want to do it in a tax advantage way. Meaning that when you're saving for retirement, we want your money to grow tax-free, but we also want it to come out 100% tax-free. That's powerful, right? Right now, if you have a 401k, it comes out of your paycheck, but it comes out pre-tax. So when you pull it out at retirement, you're going to have to pay taxes on that money. And people say, well, how much tax am I going to have to pay? Your guess is as good as mine. It all depends on whatever income taxes are at that age. So I have people that always challenge me on that, say, well, I'm going to be older, so I'm going to be paying less taxes. I'm like, well, it's not called age tax. It's called income tax. Doesn't matter what age you are, income tax is income tax, right? They base the amount based on the amount of income, not on the amount of age that you are. So we want you to have a tax-free retirement. The next thing is protection of gains, which I'm going to show you what that looks like here, because we want to show you that your money can make money in a good market, but never lose money in a bad market. I think that's worth the visual aid so you can understand. And we believe in lifetime income. So to really reinforce my point, if we can show you how to save money where it grows tax-free, comes out tax-free, it can make a good interest rate, but you're guaranteed never to lose a dime of your money should the market go south and crash. And then when you pull out money in retirement, it's going to be a guaranteed paycheck every month for the rest of your life. Would that be worth it? And I hope that you say the answer is yes. So we do this whole 6-step strategy. It's 100% complimentary. We do not charge to put this in place for a client. Okay, we don't. We do this 100% complimentary. So of course people say, well then how are you guys making money? If you're not charging me to do this, how is it that you guys are making money on this? It's a great question. And I answer it with this slide. Because our company is called Difference Financial. Well, I've never heard of you guys, right? We were created in 2011, but we never created a difference product. We represent the industry. So if you look up any of these companies, and I'll give you a second if you want to write any of these down, right? National Life Group, Allianz, AXA Equitable, Voya, Minnesota Life, National Western. These are all very powerful companies. And these companies have been around a long time, and they always focus on that top 2%. So we said, why don't we start a company where we can bring Wall Street to Main Street? And that was really our approach, right? Is because we want to give people more options. We don't just represent one company. We said, let's go out there and represent the very best. Now, how we get paid is when we sit down with the client and we say, you tell me what your needs are. And we're going to go out there and find the best company that meets those needs. And then these billion-dollar companies who have a lot of money, a lot of wealth, they compensate us as licensed agents because we just brought them business. It's a powerful strategy. So I hope that makes sense. I'm going to skip this for time. Here's an example of what it means that we never lose money. Okay. And we call it indexing. So this is an index strategy versus the stock market, in this case, the S&P 500. So here's an example of what we do compared to the stock market. So for an example, if somebody had $200,000 in the year 2000 and they left it in the stock market, here's what the market did. The market crashed from 2000 to 2002. So my $200,000, I lost almost 75,000 in 3 years in a row. Right, so I lost 75,000 over that 3 years, down market. I'm down to 124. Now at the end of 2002, the market picked back up all the way to the big market crash of 2008. Then the market tanked again. That was a big crash, right? Exactly negative 38.49%. So if somebody had $1 million, that means they lost $380,490 in the stock market. Just like that in 1 year. But since then, the market has been climbing. So if history is any representation of what the future will look like, then we know markets are cyclical. They crash, they go up, they crash, they go up. What's coming next? They crash. Now we don't know. So what we do with indexing is basically when the market crashes, our clients never lose a dime. Now, when the market picks up, so do you. The only difference with us is you're not going to get 100% of the market. So here, look at these numbers here on the right here. So negative 10, negative 13, negative 23, our clients simply earn zero. So they never had a negative year. However, one of our accounts, the cap is 12%. So if the market comes back and does 26%, our clients don't get the full 26%. They might just get the cap of 12%. Or in some cases, only 50% of the market. So you see here, the market does 8.99, our clients do 8.99. Why? Because it's still not as much as the cap. So this is a powerful strategy that we're able to do. So if we can teach you how to earn more interest than a bank will give you, but if the market should have a negative year, you're going to get a zero and never lose any money, that would be worth looking into. And if you're someone that is still puzzled by this, you're like, how are they doing that? How does that work? Then I will have to explain that on a one-on-one basis, okay? But it does work. And you can look up index strategies. You can Google it. It works, guys, right? And this is how we're helping a lot of people right now. So in wrapping up here, I'll get to the point. I want to transition into the business side. because this, I think it's important that people know, if you were ever interested in learning this as a business, the cool thing now is that we can teach you all online. There's a few people here that are in the business that I haven't even physically met that are getting results here, like Natalie Rose, right? I haven't even met Natalie. Natalie's already licensed. She's in Hacienda Heights, which is just 2 hours up the street from me here in San Diego. She's doing well in the business, and she's done everything through online. And she's just getting started. You know, so I think that's just really exciting that now someone can just do this business online on their own time. You don't have to waste gas money. You don't have to have a lot of overhead. You don't have to go out there rent an office, right? You can just work from home. We teach you how to do that and be able to not just service clients in your local area, but all over the country because of technology. You know, so we had someone here, they're tuning in from Oregon. We have Manny Gonzalez, he's from the Portland, Oregon area. We have people in Arizona right now on this call. So we can be in multiple places at one time now through technology, all getting the same message. That's a powerful thing that we never anticipated years ago, but we're here now. So we're taking advantage of that. So what this slide right here says that on a part-time basis, this means you do not have to quit your full-time job. You can do this on a part-time in the evenings, 1 or 2 nights a week, maybe a Saturday. And we teach you, we train you. How we get our clients is we have a system that we teach you how to get clients. We do all the training here through online. We have training a few days a week online. And you're gonna have to get a license, which every state is different. So we'd find out what is the license investment for the state that you're in. For example, in California, to get a license here, it's like 620 bucks, okay? Different states are different. So we would figure it out. So there is an investment, it's a business, so it's your business. And you would invest in getting a license, a life insurance license through the state that you operate in. So if you dedicate about 10 to 15 hours a week, and let's say you're able to help 4 families per month as a trained and life license representative, what that means here is the average family saves about 250 bucks a month. So if you help 4 people save 250 bucks a month towards their future, towards their retirement, making sure that their family has the right protection, you're gonna make an additional $3,600 on top of your full-time job, okay? That's what that means. If you did a rollover, right? So let's say someone has a rollover and they left their job or they're retired or they got fired or they got laid off and they now need to roll over that 401k. A lot of people don't know what to do. So they go to their local bank and their local bank does that. Well, now you can help them and put them in a plan where it can make money in the index strategy, but never lose money. People would really appreciate that. And you do that complimentary to them. Let's say you did 2 $50,000 rollovers, which are average rollovers. You would make an additional 2,400 bucks. So all in all, this is things that can possibly happen, right? So you guys see this beautiful bearded man over here. If you can look through the pictures there, Mr. Isaac Salcido over here. It says David Sanchez on his picture, but you know, Isaac got started with us when he was 23 years old. He's now 26. We were just right now, I was rushing to get on this call because he's working on a case right now that he's driving to Arizona where he's going to roll over about $337,000 on Wednesday. And so one of those cases, he's looking at making over $20,000 in commissions for just helping one client. Now, the client's not going to pay him that $20,000. The company that we're doing business is going to pay him that. You know, so that's the beauty of being in an industry like this, is that there's a great need for what we do. And so that client who's 60 years old, who has $337,000, the reason he wants to roll the money over is because he's concerned with the market crashing and him losing that money. So he wants to put it in a place that's secure. And then we're going to turn that $337,000 into a $23,000 per year pension for the rest of his life that he will never outlive until the day that he dies. That's a really valuable strategy, right, for somebody. So think about how many people could benefit from getting an additional $23,000 a year for life on top of his current pension and Social Security. He's going to be doing okay. And so Isaac's going to help him do that along with a teammate, Elvia Sanchez in Yuma this week. And that'll pay about $25,000 in commissions to the field. You know, so I think that's a great payday for helping one client. Now, how many people are like that out there? Millions. There's a lot of people like that out there. So Isaac is a product of this environment, like myself. He learned how to do those rollovers here in our business. He learned how to do them through coming on trainings, right? And he started out just like you guys see in this presentation for the first time back in December 2015. So this is what's possible. Another thing is that we don't have any quotas here. So there's no quotas. You know, you can do this when you want, how you want, right? We teach you how to fish. We teach you how to go out there and be productive. We teach you the products. We teach you everything. Okay, that's part of the package that comes with being an associate and agent in our company. If you decide to become a broker, and this is my last slide, is a broker is someone that decides to build an agency. Not everybody wants to do this, okay, because it's definitely more work, but you know, more work, more reward, right? It's definitely more time. It's definitely going to take some time, but it's a great way to also earn passive income here. So we call them marketing directors, right? Regional marketing directors. So for example, if you had a team of 4 agents, right? Or I'm sorry, let's say this were you as a marketing director and you were helping out 4 families save $250 a month. So instead of making $3,600, we gave you a nice pay raise. You're now making $6,600 a month versus before $3,600. Okay, so that's the difference. You do a couple rollovers. Instead of making $2,400, you're now making about $4,400. And so that's a pretty nice way to earn income. Now, if you decide and you go build an agency of a huge team of 4 agents, I'm being sarcastic, but let's say you had 4 part-time agents that you're training and mentoring, that takes time, right? And that takes time away from your family. So we all know that time is our most precious resource. So if you're going to be training other people outside of helping your clients and spending time with your family, then we want you to benefit financially from that. So if you had 4 part-time agents that you train and develop through our system, and you taught them to be independent, then we're also going to compensate you as a company on the growth of your agency. So if you had 4 part-time agents that were helping about 4 families each per month, then we're going to give you $17,000. So I know this is hard. For when I first saw this, it's totally unbelievable. And I know this seems unbelievable, but let's look at it as business, not as an employee, but in business. These are real numbers, guys, right? Right now I'm in a building and this is a 3-4 story building, and every office in here pays rent. So I'm thinking like the owner of this building, I'm sure that the owner of this building, after overhead and expenses, I'm sure generates more than $28,000 a month just for this one building that I'm at. So we got to think like business owners so that we can be free. And I share this with you guys as an opportunity if you're someone that is seeking freedom. If you're someone that says, look, I want to be, I just want to have control. I don't want no one to have a thumb on me and tell me what time I can go home or how much lunch I could take or how much I could earn. I want to be able to dictate that for my own life. That's all I'm saying here. And if that's something that drives you and you're like, I just don't know. I don't know anybody like that. I don't know anybody that has a successful business. I don't know how money works. I don't know how this stuff works, but I'm interested. Then this is the purpose of this webinar, because if you are, we can show you. So, in wrapping up, here's what I'll tell you, okay? So what this is about is, and for our guests, right? You don't have to answer, you can answer in the comments, right? So let's see who we have here. We have a few guests. So what you can do is just answer in the comments. Like if you're interested in give you a few options. Are you interested in the business side, the client side, or both, right? Are you interested in the business side, the client side, or both? And just let us know what you are, right? If you're interested in the business side, then we can talk with you and do more of a formal interview, right? To determine if you're a fit for us. You know, maybe you are, maybe you're not. We don't know, okay? This is just a very general presentation. We can get to more specifics in a one-on-one conversation. But if you're interested in learning more about entrepreneurship, we can teach you about that and see if there's a way that we can collaborate on a part-time basis without you having to quit your job. And we teach you the ropes, okay? And so that would be, and if you're interested, or if you're like, you know what, Carlo, business doesn't interest me so much, that's maybe not my cup of tea, but man, that 6-step financial plan, I want to put a plan in place for myself, for me and my family. You know, I want to take advantage. If you're going to invest the time in me and do it complimentary without charging me, that's something worth looking into. And we do that. It doesn't obligate you. We're not going to be chasing you, right? This is very much on your terms, or we're going to customize it. And it's very logical. If what I tell my clients is, look, if I cannot put you in a better position financially by just looking at the numbers on a piece of paper, if it doesn't logically make sense, then I'm not going to ask for your business. So I can promise you that's something that I feel we can do. Okay. So we say, you know, or if you're like, man, I love the business side, I love the client side, so I want to learn about both and put both. So I saw Andrew White here, put both. Good on you, brother. We'll be in touch. Right. And anybody else, if you don't feel comfortable, you know, commenting here, you need to digest it, then make sure you get in touch with the person that invited you on here and they can break it down. But that's pretty much my time, guys. I hope you got enough value from this to see it. Again, this was just the flavor, right, of who we are, what we do. And it's a good reminder for those of you that are associates already on the power of what we offer society. We're here to offer solutions, okay, not to sell, right? I want to help people become free. And if you're on that path of freedom for me and you want to control and create reality for you and your family, then you're at the right place, okay? I love you all. God bless. Keep shining. We'll see you guys soon.